During my trip to see him, my car broke down in the outskirts of a city, and I had to stay in town for 3 days while it was being repaired. There was a motel across the street from an auto shop, but the outskirts of towns are always depressing for me, so I took lodgings in a modern 8-story hotel in the center of town. The bellboy told me that the hotel had a restaurant, and when I came down to eat, I found that there were tables out on the sidewalk. It was a rather handsome arrangement set on the street corner under some low brick arches of modern lines. It was cool outside, and there were empty tables, yet I preferred to sit in the stuffy indoors. I had noticed upon entering that a group of shoeshine boys were sitting on the curb in front of the restaurant, and I was certain they would have hounded me had I taken one of the outside tables. From where I was seated, I could see the group of boys through the glass window. A couple of young men took a table, and the boys flocked around them, asking to shine their shoes. The young men refused, and I was amazed to see that the boys didn't insist and went back to sit on the curb. After a while, 3 men in business suits got up and left, and the boys ran to their table and began eating the leftovers. In a matter of seconds, the plates were clean. The same thing happened with leftovers on all the other tables. I noticed that the children were quite orderly. If they spilled water, they sponged it up with their own shoeshine cloths. I also noticed the thoroughness of their scavenging procedures. They even ate the ice cubes left in the glasses of water and the lemon slices from the tea, peel and all. There was absolutely nothing that they wasted. In the course of the time I stayed in the hotel, I found out that there was an agreement between the children and the manager of the restaurant. The boys were allowed to hang around the premises to make some money from the customers, and were also allowed to eat the leftovers, provided that they didn't harass anybody and didn't break anything. There were 11 in all, ranging in age from 5 to 12. After 3 days of watching them go like vultures after the most meager of leftovers, I became despondent, and I left that city feeling that there was no hope for those children whose world was already molded by their day-after-day struggle for crumbs. "Do you feel sorry for them?" Don Juan exclaimed in a questioning tone. "I certainly do," I said. "Why?" "Because I'm concerned with the well-being of my fellow men. Those are children, and their world is ugly and cheap." Wait. How can you say that their world is ugly and cheap?" Don Juan said, mocking my statement. "You think that you're better off, don't you?" I said I did, and he asked me why. And I told him that in comparison to those children's world, mine was infinitely more varied and rich in experiences and in opportunities for personal satisfaction and development. Don Juan's laughter was friendly and genuine. He said that I wasn't careful with what I was saying, that I had no way of knowing about the richness and the opportunities in the world of those children. I thought Don Juan was being stubborn. I really thought he was taking the opposite view just to annoy me. I sincerely believed that those children didn't have the slightest chance for any intellectual growth. I argued my point for a while longer, and then Don Juan asked me bluntly, "Didn't you once tell me that in your opinion man's greatest accomplishment was to become a man of knowledge?" I had said that, and I repeated again that in my opinion to become a man of knowledge was one of the greatest intellectual accomplishments. "Do you think that your very rich world would ever help you to become a man of knowledge?" Don Juan asked with slight sarcasm. I didn't answer, and he then worded the same question in a different manner, a thing I always do to him when I think he doesn't understand. "In other words," he said, smiling broadly, obviously aware that I was cognizant of his ploy, "can your freedom and opportunities help you to become a man of knowledge?" "No," I said emphatically. "Then how could you feel sorry for those children?" he said seriously. "Any of them could become a man of knowledge. All the men of knowledge I know were kids like those you saw, eating leftovers and licking the tables." Don Juan's argument gave me an uncomfortable sensation. I hadn't felt sorry for those underprivileged children because they didn't have enough to eat, but because in my terms, their world had already condemned them to be intellectually inadequate. And yet in Don Juan's terms, any of them could achieve what I believe to be the epitome of man's intellectual accomplishment, the goal of becoming a man of knowledge. My reason for pitying them was incongruous. Don Juan had nailed me neatly. "Perhaps you're right," I said. "But how can one avoid the desire, the genuine desire, to help our fellow men? How do you think one can help them? By alleviating their burden. The least one can do for our fellow men is to try to change them. You yourself are involved in doing that, aren't you?" "No, I'm not. I don't know what to change, or why to change anything in my fellow men." "What about me, Don Juan? Weren't you teaching me so I could change?" "No, I'm not trying to change you. It may happen that one day you may become a man of knowledge. There's no way to know that. But that will not change you. Someday perhaps you'll be able to see men in another mode, and then you'll realize that there's no way to change anything about them." "What's this other mode of seeing men, Don Juan?" "Men look different when you see. Fibers, like white cobwebs, very fine threads that circulate from the head to the navel. Thus a man looks like an egg of circulating fibers, and his arms and legs are like luminous bristles, bursting out in all directions." "Is that the way everyone looks?" "Everyone. Besides, every man is in touch with everything else. Not through his hands, though, but through a bunch of long fibers that shoot out from the center of his abdomen. Those fibers join a man to his surroundings. They keep his balance. They give him stability. So as you may see someday, a man is a luminous egg, whether he's a beggar or a king, and there's no way to change anything. Or rather, what could be changed in that luminous egg? What?